Hey guys, Sunday here in Bristol. It's been a lovely day. Started off with a nice morning walk and then did Ashtanga yoga and we swim, sauna, ice bath. Love doing all these things. So as you guys have probably noticed, I am very active with all these wellness things. But as I've stated before, it's not a hardship, it's a luxury. I just love going to my gym. I've never been a gym guy until I moved to Bristol. I've always been into cardio, out there doing cycling and running and swimming, and I loved going to the sauna in New Zealand, in Amsterdam when I lived there. But this is the first time I've joined a gym, and it was really a great way to meet a few people and get the feeling of the kind of cross section of people living in my area, and they are a lovely bunch. So thankful for my gym. I happily go there every day. A bit of a stretch in the gym room. I'm not really into weights, but people keep telling me you got to be doing the weights. So who knows, one day. For now, a bit of stretching and a few sun salutes and so on, and then into the pool and sauna and ice bath is the icing on the cake, so to speak. But yeah, also 2 Ashtanga classes there every week. Wonderful when you find the right gym that has ticks all the boxes basically. Free classes, that's huge. So I pay £80 a month and it feels like such a bargain for all the things that I get. Anyways, just want to kind of double down on my previous message about loving my hip to a better place. It just becomes clearer and clearer to me that you can't scare anybody to a better place. You can't force anybody anything to a better place. You can't beat anybody to a better place, as in beat them up. You've got to love them. You've got to love everything to a better place. If you want to see progression, if you want to see things get better, love is the key ingredient. I used to think it's simplistic to think that everything stemmed from either love or fear, but it is true. You know, it's the light and the dark, isn't it? Love and fear, and thankfully love is so much more powerful than fear. I'm really finding this identity of my leg working. As I've mentioned, I've named my left leg and hip, which gives me pain. I've named it Asia, my dear blessed little firstborn who died at the age of 32 days. It's just turned around my language and not just my language, my vibration that I'm giving to my hip all the time. Because I used to so often be saying, annoying hip, why aren't you just not hurting for a change? Why aren't you stronger? Why aren't you more flexible, etc., etc.? And my language has just changed so much since I gave her the identity of Asia. When you see something as your child, your beloved, your most beloved, I was going to say possession, that's not right, beloved connection. When your child falls off a bike, you don't say, stupid kid, get back up, you're not much good at riding, are you? You say, oh, oops, how do we fall? That's okay, we get back on and we learn, don't we? And we get better every time. You encourage and you grow. And yeah, that's what I've been feeling ever since I did that. And I'm sure some of you find it a bit of a wacky idea that I've named my 2 legs the names of my 2 dear daughters who have passed on. But boy, it sure is working. And the communication between the 2 of them that I hear as well is just magic. So I've been having a few rough days with my leg. Now, I think I mentioned that I'd sprained and I want to get this right, rectus femoris is one of your quad muscles along the top there, and I just had sprained it trying to stretch it too much in yoga class. It's hard. I'm not very patient. And so I overdo it sometimes. So I stretched it too much, and that gave me quite a bit of pain, really, for 2 weeks on and off. But the last 4 days were quite bad and made me hobble around a whole lot. And it's so silly, but it just makes me feel like I've gone so far backwards in my healing journey, which is ridiculous. It's the rubbish. where I felt so much better is right in my hip joint. I really feel the solidity of it. Is that the right word? I walk around singing a song, solid as a rock. Do you know that song? That's what my hip is. Ooh. And that word is really working for me, because I guess I've felt like my hip is frail and I want it to be solid, strong, supple. So just so you know, singing, talking, these things, expressing jubilation, expressing belief, expressing support is so valid, is so powerful. Honestly, when I walk around singing that song, I can just straight away feel a change in my hip. Solid as a rock, sing your heart out. Singing, your voice has so much power, right? Your throat chakra. Allow this flow of goodness, of good vibration. It's you can be thinking something, but then when you start singing it as well, the power just expands, if you like. So sing your heart out, sing those good tunes. I did a wonderful workshop yesterday with a psychic that I've really come to like. She's based in London and she does a lot of great courses for a very reasonable price. She seems to do everything for 66 American dollars, generally for a 4 or 5 hour workshop. This was my second Akashic Records workshop that I'd done with her. And this one was about cutting contracts, ties, psychic ties that no longer serve you. And it was a great workshop of identifying one key thing in your life that you really wanted to, well, where you knew you were being held back or it wasn't serving you anymore, and cutting that contract. And often that contract would be with another person, another soul, can be with yourself in a previous life. It was a really interesting process, and I came up with self-judgment. That I've had a lot of self-judgment in my life, and I know we all do, but I've always felt like I should be doing a little bit better than I am. I should be working a little bit harder. I should be going a little bit faster. I should be doing my public speaking a little bit better, etc., etc. Never quite good enough. And so this is what I put down for my tie, and I thought it was to do with my father, who was a brilliant man and so good at so many things, but also quite domineering. And I wouldn't say that he was verbally critical too much, but I think I felt the vibes of his criticism of thinking, nobody is quite as good as me. He was a brilliant man, but that's no way to go walking around thinking. Anyways, when we did the journey to the Akashic Records library and got to the crystal table where your scroll is being unopened of your contract, and this might all be very woo-woo jargon to some people. Other people that know about the Akashic Records will understand a little of what I'm saying. Anyway, you're doing a visualization of what that scroll is saying, and when I was opening my scroll, what was coming to me was that I had a contract with myself, that my soul had agreed to come down to earth in this lifetime and have a very comfortable and wealthy life and build up a business and wealth and family and network and all that, and then lose it all. And we find it later on, a bit like Job in the Bible, if anybody knows that story. But anybody who knows what's been going on in my life in the last 2 to 3 years, yes, it's been quite a dramatic loss of my whole life. I lost my home, my business, my family, my daughter, and the list goes on. My father, my sister. Well, it's phenomenal. But maybe more importantly than that base story was that somehow I've managed to stay in a high vibration most of the time through all of that. I guess what I've managed to do is truly find the happiness inside. For instance, I I feel incredibly abundant lately, and I'm in England waiting on my work visa, and so I don't have work at the moment, and so I really don't have a red cent to scratch together. Is that how you say that? But I feel so abundant. I can remember looking on my account the other day and saying, oh, there's £35 on that. Oh, that's going to go a long way. The universe just keeps providing, and it's been through a little bit of crowdfunding, very supportive family, thankfully, friends that I know I can call on. And but yeah, just out of the blue, I get a payment from my bank in New Zealand, which is totally unexpected. They did explain why, but I didn't really care. Thank you very much. I got a much bigger GST return than I expected. Amazing where the wealth comes from. And I'm really igniting this flow. I'm making sure that I let that money flow through me. Like, it's easy to think, oh, good, put that all in a bank account and feel a little bit safe, for the next 2 months. No, let it flow through, because when you let it flow through, you attract more. I'm going off on various tangents here, but I just want to come back to the main point of this video is love for my hip, and just how giving my hip and leg the identity of my daughter has just changed my language around this whole healing journey. There's no more, oh, that's annoying, it's still hurting, or oh, why isn't it better by now? This was part of my Akashic records reading. I was thinking, why aren't I healing faster? Always this self-judgment. And now I just find that because I've given my hip and leg this identity of my dear daughter, it's always encouragement, and it's support, and it's compassion and love, and not judgment, not impatience, not fear. I'm loving my leg and hip to a better place. Love is all you need. Thanks for listening.